If this whole beach was completely covered in dicks, and somebody said I'd eat every dick until the beach was clean for liberty, I would say no problemo.
What did he say? Pause.
So, you think you're untouchable?
Well, let's get the obvious question. Is this better than the first Suicide Squad? Well, they definitely cut out a lot of fat by just jumping straight into the main mission pretty much immediately, which I kind of like when sequels do that kind of shit. And when comparing the look of each movie, I would say this new one is definitely way more aesthetically pleasing to look at than the first one. One complaint I have though is the trailer definitely gave away a little too much, but there's still about like 2 or 3 little plot twists that wasn't spoiled by the trailer, so I'm not going to spoil it here if you haven't seen it. And while watching it, I was like, yeah, this is definitely a James Gunn movie, with like 90% of it being a comedy, which I'm always in for a good comedy, so I was fine with that. Plus, that's pretty much what I was expecting going in. And when it comes to the cast, they decided to replace one beautiful chocolate man with another, with Idris Elba being the more serious version of Deadshot, played by Will Smith, and decided to add Cena, pretty much just playing himself, King Shark, who's just CGI, who I didn't even realize was Sylvester Stallone until the fucking credits, so that's kind of funny. That one guy from The Dark Knight, and the Rat Girl, plus Harley just being Harley. And I must say, this new ensemble was a lot more enjoyable group to follow around, with my favorite character easily being that rat, and you know what rat I'm talking about. It was just so friendly. And speaking of the first Suicide Squad, I wasn't really one of those people who despised it and thought it was just a fucking abomination, mainly because the entire DC universe of recent, aka the Snyderverse, to me all of those movies are pretty bad. To me there was nothing special when it comes to being bad. If anything, it's actually more rewatchable than the rest of the DC Snyderverse, but after watching the sequel, it definitely makes the first one look just so much more bland and boring, especially in the color palette and just the decisions made visually, just so much better. However, it's not a masterpiece by any means, but overall it is a good time, and I'll give it like a 7 out of 10. And for shits and giggles, I'll go ahead and throw in pretty much my entire ranking of the Snyderverse DC movies, since I don't think it actually deserves its own video. So here it is. Alright, I'm done.